Star Wars, the 7 most powerful Sith Lords to ever exist. In the Star Wars galaxy and lore, wherever there exists Jedi, there must be those that oppose them. In most cases, those people are the Sith. The most powerful Jedi go up against the most powerful Sith in a seemingly never-ending battle for the fate of the galaxy. As a future emperor would say, the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. These 15 characters tapped into those abilities better than anyone else, leading them to become the most powerful Sith to ever exist. 15. Darth Shin. A living embodiment of the man literally too angry to die meme, Darth Shin, also known as the Lord of Pain, fought for the Sith Lord Exar Kun until Kun's death. Despite defeating numerous Jedi, he was eventually struck down in battle, but found that if he called upon the power of the dark side and surrendered himself to a life of pain and agony, he would never die. By doing this, he would become one of the most powerful Sith of his era. Shin survived the fall of Kun's Sith Empire, eventually forming the Sith Triumvirate with Darth Trier and Darth Nihilus. After he and Nihilus stripped Trier of her Force powers, they searched for the Jedi exile, Meeter Surik, to bring about the downfall of the Jedi in the Republic. On the world of Malak V, Shin would eventually meet his end during combat with Surik. After a conversation with Surik, he lost their duel and surrendered himself to death. 14. Darth Malak. The primary villain of the first game in the Knights of the Old Republic series, Darth Malak began as the apprentice of Darth Revan. As is tradition with the Sith, he eventually betrayed Revan and took the mantle of Dark Lord of the Sith for himself. He began his life as Alec, a Jedi who followed his friend and future Master Revan into battle. During the Mandalorian Wars, a decision forbidden by the Jedi Council. This decision ultimately corrupted both of them, with Revan being redeemed, but Malak embracing the dark side fully. Malak would continue his quest to try and conquer the galaxy, but was stopped by his former Master Revan. 13. Darth Tyrannus Count Dooku. Despite all the chaos and destruction that he was ultimately responsible for, Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus, is a bit of a tragic figure. Corrupted by Palpatine to serve his own needs, Dooku helped Darth Sidious orchestrate the Clone Wars, plunging the galaxy into chaos. Masquerading as the head of the Separatists, Dooku only worked to serve his master's needs. However, Palpatine had no plans for Dooku post-Clone Wars, merely using him as a tool to corrupt Anakin Skywalker. Despite all that, Dooku was an extremely powerful Sith, both in the Force and with a lightsaber. He defeated both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker in combat and went toe-to-toe with Yoda, holding his own with the Jedi Master. 12. Exar Kun. Although he and many of the Sith stories on this list are no longer canon, they've since started to slowly be reintroduced due to fan interest. Exar Kun's tale is an interesting one. Fighting thousands of years before A New Hope takes place, Kun was a fallen Jedi Knight who went on a long journey to the Sith homeworld of Korriban to become the most powerful dark side user in history. After conspiring with the spirit of another Sith Lord, Freedon Nad, he established a base on Yavin 3 and enslaved the Masasi people, forcing them to build temples for him and the dark side. In fact, one of these temples would become the rebel base we see in A New Hope. In case you needed evidence as to how he was so powerful, I feel the need to re-emphasize that he used the Force to enslave an entire species. Oh, and did I mention he also created the double-bladed lightsaber? Not too shabby. 11. Darth Maul. I might take a little heat for ranking Darth Maul this low. It lets face facts. Maul's entire life was one line of taking L after L. First, it was Obi-Wan chopping him in half. Then, it was being forced to live on a junkyard planet where he became half cyborg, getting betrayed by Palpatine again, and on and on. However, much like Darth Shin, Maul is another great example of the man too angry to die meme. He used his anger and hatred of Obi-Wan to fuel his power, leading him to almost as many victories as losses. He was found by his brother Savage Opress and brought back to full strength by the witch sisters of Dathomir. Eventually, he became powerful enough that he took control of the planet Mandalore before his overthrow at the hands of Ahsoka Tano. His power over the Force, lightsaber skills, and talent for manipulation were almost unparalleled during that era. He learned well from his master, Darth Sidious. After being cut into by Obi-Wan, he dedicated his life to hunting down his former adversary and killing him. They would fight a few times again, but Obi-Wan defeated him in one final duel on Tatooine. By the end of his life, he could certainly be named amongst the most powerful Sith ever. 10. Darth Trier. Another member of the Sith Triumvirate, Darth Trier was Darth Shin's master, teaching him in the dark side along with Darth Nihilius. She began her life as a Jedi historian, but after becoming too radical and unorthodox for the Order, she was exiled. Following her ousting, she turned to the Sith teachings as a way of life. After her betrayal at the hands of Shin and Nihilus, she turned away from the Sith entirely. She adopted the moniker of Kriya to exist outside the influence of both Jedi and Sith. Due to this constant cycle of betrayals, she grew to hate the Force itself, attempting to literally destroy it by using the Jedi Excel, Mitra Surik. Kriya Trier would fail, obviously, but put her full powers on display on her mission to do so. She drained 3 Jedi Masters of their Force powers and severed their connection to it, killing them all. She also possessed an ability to see far into the future, predicting the rise and fall of the Galactic Empire, which would occur 3,000 years after she was alive. 9. Darth Vitiate. Most Sith Lords and evildoers tend to start good or with good intentions, and then turn evil. Not Vitiate, Vitiate, who would eventually become the Emperor of the old Sith Empire. Massacred people by the thousands when he was 10 years old. He was, as they say, not a great guy. As his power grew, other Sith Lords began to see him as a threat. But he managed to lure them to a meeting on the planet Dathomir to decide who would rule the Sith next. Instead of conferring, he drained their life essence and that of the entire world to increase his power. Like many people on this list, Vitiate was as evil as it gets and desired nothing more than to dominate all life. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you could use your lightsaber and take out the like and subscribe button, we would appreciate it. Thanks, see you in the next one.